Good morning, peeps. It's not long after 5 o'clock on a rainy Saturday morning. Rushed preps for a cosplay event today. To no avail, I think. Either there's been a lack of communication or something else. Last minute event down in Southend with a group I occasionally work with, and I've made it plain I've got no transport, so unless someone could give me a lift I can't get there. And no one got back to me, so, you know. Oh, well, it's raining anyway. I want all my equipment to get soaking wet. Yeah, I had two I was going to do because it was suggested that I do something Fallout themed. So I'll put a probably World War II or 1950s steel helmet and a kind of fake gas mask I bought from a military shop, long black leather coat, painted up Nerf gun, cheap motocross armour, leather trousers and big boots that basically NCR, what they call them, Ranger. Not totally authentic, but it'd pass. And the other thing was same outfit but without the gas mask, an Arab scarf, and my Spartan helmet with the crest taken off. Caesar's Legion Special Operative, so both from Fallout New Vegas. But apparently that's not happening, so you know, that's the thing. What I have to try to do these days is not get so upset at being let down or cast out, because both things happen so often to me that I need to learn to deal with it in a constructive way. Certain local drinking establishments, I've seen the advantages there. In one case, because of what's going on, you know, the Euros, isn't it? Sorry, I have zero interest in football. And one place I used to regularly go was such an eclectic mix of people, which I liked. But having to kind of like get clued up on especially local football, you know, it's kind of the British sporting passion, isn't it? Despite the fact we're unfailingly crap at it. It's true, sorry. Having to feign an interest, although I was getting quite good at it, was kind of painful and boring. Yeah. And the other place that I don't know, but all I know is I wouldn't be welcome for various reasons that don't actually have anything to do with the place. Well, I wouldn't have to spend the next few days with its rather distinctive odour permeating my hair and clothes. Well, no, I wash my hair every other day, okay? When my self-esteem allows me to think that washing is a good idea. It doesn't happen that often, but I have been a bit lax over the past week or so. Well, what's the point in washing and making yourself look presentable when you don't go out? Two buyers who'd basically said they were interested in around about £200 worth of stuff I had for sale. Haven't got back to me and have let me down. Someone I was doing casual work with said this month she'd have a few days work for me, hasn't got back to me. Hell, I keep pushing my own mother to let me go around, and well, not pushing her, but hinting to my mother that, you know, maybe I should pop round and if she needs some stuff done for a few quid. But she never gets back to me. Well, I went in the park today, but looking at the weather, I don't think I'm going to bother. Global rhythms, so it's lots of ethnic music and ethnic food. Yeah, love me foreign food. Can't stand my own country's rather boring cuisine. Come on, fellow Brits, it's true. We can't even do fish and chips right. I mean, when I cook fish at home in batter, I cover the batter with probably oregano, basil. I drench it in olive oil and pepper, you know, Portuguese style, because they know how to fry fish. We took the idea from them and just bulbed it up. One thing that's been very much on my mind lately is my partner's cousin is in the process of moving to Western Australia. And if the chance comes up, I think both me and my partner have decided we'll go there with him. Or rather, when he's established himself, we may well move out there if I can get past immigration. I mean, but the last stain on my criminal record was 20 odd years ago. Problem is I have no skills, and I know Australia are very strict on their immigration. But there are ways and means, because I think I've just about had it with this country. I think even though I'm proud of parts of this country's history, excuse me, just the whole staid, conventional, don't make a fuss, stiff upper lip attitude just rubs me up the wrong way. Maybe that's why I get on with other cultures better than I do my fellow countrymen and women. Had a long chat with the leader of the reenactment group I used to be in. We can still manage to be civil to each other. Well, I always respected him. And I always got on with him, you know. There's no point in falling out with him as well. Because he's on his own side. And I don't necessarily agree with his choices, but he has the right to make them. Much as anybody else does. Unfortunately, other people's choices tend to cause me a lot of mental pain. So yet again, this is reinforcing a belief I've had for quite a while now, that the less I involve other people in my business and my plans, the happier I will be. That is true. Every time my plans involve other people, invariably there will be at least one or two people who get thrown into the mix who I despise, and I can't hide that fact for long. I try, and I have a tendency to push a situation to its breaking point, regardless of how perhaps other people involved want to deal with it, to force the confrontation. There are advantages to this and there are disadvantages. I've said this on FB, but some of you may not be on Facebook. The advantage can be, if you push someone when they're not ready for it, they tend to react with their true face and or not react in a thought out manner because suddenly they're confronted with a situation they weren't ready for yet. The flaw to the way I do things is that because of this compulsion to force that confrontation, if other people are involved who didn't want that confrontation and wanted to deal with things their own way, it pisses them off. It means they can't rely on me to be discreet or patient, and that's a flaw, but it's a fact. When you know some form of clash or confrontation is coming, I do not see the point in putting it off, letting it rot and fester. You excise that wound, you remove the problem, so maybe I should make it future policy. When and if I bother with social situations again, to as soon as I get the alarm bells, just leave. And perhaps I should stick to how most people operate by just not even bothering to explain why. I know that's not in my nature. It really isn't. This is why I don't understand most people. They will do things that you think, what the fuck? And then there is no explanation as to why they did it. They won't stand up and have the courage of their convictions. I think it's markedly more present in younger generations because they have grown up. I know someone in their 50s slagging off the younger generation, how untypical. But they've been taught these days they don't have to deal with confrontation. Their opinion, no matter what it is always valid. And that any behaviour is justified. Hell, over the years, 25, 30 years ago, I believed all my behaviours were justified. So I was guilty, but I learned, no, they're not. I have, in the past, behaved in very unjustifiable and frightening ways. And sometimes I still do on occasions. But these days I'm conscious of the fact that no. I mean, I used to have this thing where I believed that getting angry was my right and, people should learn to deal with it. These days I realise that my anger is a frightening thing. And people who don't deserve to feel it shouldn't. I mean, when I get angry about something that's going on, my partner has learned that I'm not angry at her. And I've had a lot of problems in the past with various ex-partners who, because of their past experiences, can't help but feel that the anger is directed at them. And it's caused immense damage in those relationships. And this is the thing, I mean, people with my kind of issues, if you're going to be a close friend or partner of one of us, you've got to learn most of the time hopefully most of the time when we get angry, it's not directed at you. But, that can be down to someone's past issues. And even with the conflicts I've had with various people at the moment, I realise quite a lot of that could be down to their past issues. But I have enough trouble dealing with my own past. I shouldn't, except in a very close relationship, lovers, partners, I shouldn't have to deal with other people's issues outside of that. I've only got a limited amount of patience. I don't know. But yeah, I reiterate a point I've been making lately, in that it's all making me feel like just shutting myself off again, in a lot of ways. I've done it before. Not even this time just to recharge the batteries, but to never again bother. Yeah, I'll still, when the weather's not shitty like it is today, do my morning walks in the park, pass the time of day with people. But to actually properly socialise, there's always one wanker, or two or three in some cases. There's always one toxic motherfucker or envious person who just wants to make life miserable for you. And I don't understand why. Well, it's down to their own personal issues, isn't it, really? It's sad and depressing and pointless. I still, and some may call me naive, have this thing where only people could be more understanding of each other. I'm just as guilty of misunderstanding people. Mind you, misunderstanding people's moods and motivations is a thing with high-functioning autism ADHD. So we find it difficult to read people's faces while talking to them. So quite often, unless someone actually says, look, Howard, I'm having a personal conversation here with my friend, we're trying to sort stuff out, could you fuck off please? Then I don't realise that I'm being not exactly helpful. There are various people who I get on with and trust who are capable of doing that. because they realise I'm just going to go, oh shit, sorry, I'll leave you to it. And if people are direct and upfront like that with me, then it saves a lot of misunderstanding and social embarrassment and awkwardness, you know, because I misread people's intentions so often. I mean, there was an incident with a young lady 2 or 3 weeks ago now, where wine, don't mind if I do. Not normally a fan of white wines, but that Chardonnay is rather nice. Got some bite to it. I like anything with bite. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah. A young lady I know, me and a friend of hers ended up, instead of going back to a certain pub, which I don't think I'm welcome in anymore, so we went back to a friend's place and we sat there, and it's really warm. The weather's changed a lot since then. So I took my top off, and all of a sudden, because she's a bit of a fitness fanatic, she was, I learnt more about muscles in the upper torso than I ever wished to know. And she was just marvelling at how pronounced most of my torso muscles are. I've got a bit of a Bruce Lee vibe going on. Not bad for my age, and it's something I'm quite proud of. And even though I'm no longer an active member of a reenactment group, I intend to keep that level of fitness and training up when I can. Yeah. And I kind of misunderstood. I didn't do anything about it that night. And I shouldn't have anyway, because I've got a partner. But, I've since found out it's all good. It's just this person is also like me, high functioning autistic, ADHD, and gets rather over enthusiastic. There was no her intentions and enthusiasm were perfectly innocent. I mean, I wasn't sure. And this is one of the problems I have. People have to tell me when I'm making them feel uncomfortable, or when they really can't handle me, because most of the time, especially if I've had a few drinks, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who think, well, you should adapt yourself to be able to handle it. I can't. I've tried for years. And masking, which is what these people are asking me to do, is an unhealthy thing to do. One of the reasons I ended up in the state I was about 7 years ago, where I was drinking anything including up to 3 bottles of wine in an evening just to cope with going back to work the next day, was because I was trying my hardest to mask myself to be acceptable to a bunch of mostly idiots, to be completely honest. What can I say? I mean, this is why, a while back I mentioned the fact that I was thinking about volunteering for, the Ukraine Foreign Legion. But as I think I said in a previous video, I know I'd just be cannon fodder, so, because I've got no military training. So that's a no-go. At some point when the weather's nice, I'd like to ask my partner to give me some money just to go off to the coast. Because I'm lucky in that I live within, half an hour's, 3/4 an hour's bus ride of you know, the coast, because sitting down by the sea is something I love doing. It feels like it cleanses my soul, chills me. I mean, my favourite place, Dunwich, is really difficult to get to, but there are certain areas of Felixstowe seafront locally that are really nice. Anyways, I've been rambling on for a while now, so I'm going to make myself another coffee and wake up a bit more. Take care.